Welcome to the Crawcast. I am your host, George Krawczak, and this is my rankings of every match in SummerSlam 2025, Night 1 and Night 2. And if you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. This will also be kind of more of a review of the show as well. And if you want to know my more immediate thoughts on things, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Crawcast. Now let's get started. At number 13, I have Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa in a steel cage for the United States Championship. I'll be honest, this match was boring. Absolutely nothing happened, and there was only one good spot the entire match, and that one spot was Jacob Fatu ripping off the handcuffs, and we didn't even see it on camera. The camera guys completely missed it. So that was kind of a fail there. And then the whole bloodline stuff is just boring to me. I hated when Roman did it, and now I hate it when Solo does it. It's the same match every single time. Or they wrestle for a little bit, looks like he's going to lose, bloodline interference, then he wins. It's boring. I don't like it. And I'm be honest, I really like Solo. I think I get it that once Jacob Fatu, came back, it was like, oh, Solo's old news now. Who cares? But I still think he has a shot at being like a main event guy. And I still like him. I still think he's good. It's just that it feels like the bloodline's kind of beneath him and really holding him down. And then, like I said, there was only one actual spot in this match, and the cameras absolutely missed it. There was one cool thing after the match where Jacob Fatu did a moonsault um, off the top of the cage, but they did it after the match. Why not do it during the match? It made no sense to me. Again, this match was like more filler than anything, and quite frankly, I think this match was like damaging to both guys because it made both guys look boring. And I think the big four are Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam, and that's when you have the more casual guys see these newer guys who maybe you don't really know who Jacob Fatu or stuff like that is. So again, it was just bad. It was boring. No one really liked it, and definitely the worst match on the show. At number 12, I have Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. And this match was just kind of average. It kind of felt like your average Raw match where nothing happened. And so it just was an average nothing match. And I really feel bad for Karrion Kross because again, he's built up such a great character, and he feels like he's kind of the new CM Punk, where he's like the voice of the voiceless and saying the things that no one is allowed to, or at least willing to say. And I think he's had such a great character, and WWE's completely ruined him. They clearly have no faith in him. And then this story was just kind of nothing, where Sammy was. No one really thought he was going to turn into a villain, and he didn't. And then Karrion Kross did nothing. And so this really felt like a nothing story that you could completely skip over and just kind of killed time for Sami Zayn. And I'm going to be honest, I think Aaron Cross is done. I really don't see him re-signing with the WWE because he basically has two options. He can either make a lot of money with WWE and be wasted, which, again, hey, I don't blame anyone for getting a big guaranteed contract. You know, I'd probably do that too. Or he can go sign with maybe a smaller promotion and be the top guy there. So it's kind of tough. What do you want, money, or do you want to kind of earn it and be at the top of the card? Because clearly he's going to be wasted in WWE, but there's more money for him there. So again, this was just a nothing Raw match. It felt really damaging to Karrion Kross because it feels like it's officially over. I know I said that a while ago, but now it's like official. Where Saudi Arabia, I could have been like, yeah, okay, Saudi Arabia, Sami Zayn wins, so you can maybe not count that a little bit. But this one, he definitively lost, and again, there's nothing for him. Sammy won. This win felt like it didn't do anything for him either because at this point, Karrion Kross feels a bit like a glorified jobber where he doesn't win at all, and even though his character is really cool, no one really cares about him and from the company. So I do think he's going to be done, and this match again was just kind of like an average Raw match. So at number 11, I have Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, and I get it. It was a cash in. It wasn't really a match. So, but the reason why I have this above the other two is because at least this was decent and furthered a story, whereas I felt like the other two matches were actually damaging to the wrestlers involved, and it would have been better for each of the wrestlers if it maybe just didn't happen. So, this was a decent cash in. So Seth Rollins came out, acted like he was still injured, and then put his crutches down, and then came into the ring, beat up CM Punk with the briefcase, and won the title. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of wish they would have done this on Raw because again, this is maybe my fault because I'm too like online, but in my predictions video, I said I think Seth Rollins is more likely to win the title than CM Punk or Gunther, and I thought it was a very obvious that he was cashing in. And I feel like the greatest cash-ins of all times are the ones that you're not expecting. Like Naomi, I thought that was really good because no one expected it to happen. Seth Rollins, his original cash-in, no one expected it to happen. Whereas this one, everyone expected it to happen. And like, I wish they released a medical report or something like that, because to me, it was okay. We have no update on his injury. I wish they would have released him like he tore his ACL or something like that, saying how he was injured, because that's what kind of tipped it off for me, because it was like Triple H just said, "Oh, his injury doesn't look good." And that was it. There was no real actual report on what was wrong with him. And I'm like, this is weird. That's been several weeks and we heard nothing. So he's probably not actually injured. What I would have done is I would have done it the next night on Raw, where SummerSlam passes. Everyone's expecting him to cash in at SummerSlam. Then he doesn't do it. So then everyone's like, oh, wait, Seth Rollins is actually injured, because it would have been cool for him to cash in on SummerSlam because that's a big stage. And so maybe he is actually injured. Then the next day on Raw, you can have Punk come out celebrating his title win. And then Seth Rollins then comes in, beats him up, and cashes in. Everyone's like, whoa, we thought he was really injured because he didn't do it at SummerSlam. That's just my opinion on it, because I thought it would have been a little bit more shocking and maybe a little bit better if they did it like that. But overall, it was cool. The Seth Rollins CM Punk, they've been feuding on and off for over 2 years, so I kind of wish they would have will end it sooner rather than later, but overall, it was a cool moment. I just wish it was a little more surprising. And again, I don't think it can go into one of the greatest cash-ins of all time because everyone saw it coming. So at number 11, I have Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Now, the matches here, moving on, are the ones that were like halfway decent because people enjoyed them, whereas the first three weren't really matches like I don't think anyone would rewatch. So this was a decent match. I feel like not a lot happened, but there was a really amazing ending sequence where uh, Alexa accidentally punched Charlotte in the face, and then Charlotte looks like she's lining up to beat up Alexa when Alexa is trying to win the match. Then all of a sudden goes for the big boot, hits I believe Raquel Rodriguez and then Alexa hits the Sister Abigail for the win. And overall, it was a really good match, and like nothing special, but not terrible. And so, it again, and I felt like this was kind of needed for Alexa and Charlotte. I really hope the Judgment Day just ends. It feels like it's holding everyone in the group back, and everyone feels like they might be better single stars, or at least just not a part of the Judgment Day. And I see Dominic, the Judgment Day didn't interfere in his match. That's still a spoiler for later. So maybe the Judgment Day's over. I don't know. It kind of feels like the Bloodline where it's the same thing over and over again, and it just needs to end. And then I think this is a good spot for Charlotte and Alexa because I think Charlotte is popular, and I just think she's kind of like Becky Lynch, where people see her as holding younger talent down, so they don't want to see her in the main event right now. And so where you can have her in this tag team run, and hopefully she'll gain a little bit of popularity off Alexa, and they'll do some really good things to the point where maybe a few months down the line, people are ready to see her in the main event again. And then Alexa, it feels like creative just has nothing for her. They don't really want to put her in the main event. And so this can keep her on TV, although I think Alexa would be a good mid-card champion. And Charlotte just kind of feels too good for the mid-card championship. She's a main eventer, so overall, I thought this was a pretty decent match. At number 9, I have Jelly Roll and Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. And I just want to say this is the craziest stat I learned is so I watched the two Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, and then the Jelly Roll match. And I'm like, wow, Jelly Roll spent a lot of time in the ring. And so I watched both those matches with a stopwatch. And Jelly Roll spent more time in the ring as the legal man than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns tagged in once and was in the match for 3 minutes. Whereas Jelly Roll, he started the match and then tagged in once after that and was in the match for 8 minutes and 49 seconds. So Jelly Roll was the legal man in his match for nearly 3 times the amount of time Roman Reigns was the legal man in his match. And I just found that so interesting. So Jelly Roll did fine. Randy Orton did fine. Everyone did fine. Logan Paul looked really good. He had a really nice frog splash off the top rope through the announce table onto Jelly Roll. I'm really happy Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul won. I am wondering if this is the last time we'll see Jelly Roll or not because, typically celebrities don't lose. But I'm overall this it kind of felt like this is a downgrade for Drew McIntyre. I hope he is in a world title picture soon because that's what he deserves and that's what he needs to be. And I feel bad for him being like a stupid celebrity match because he's so much better than that and he deserves so much more than that. Because last year he was my superstar of the year. And he was great. And this year they basically done nothing. He had like a nothing match of Damian Priest at Mania. Then he got injured and now he's in a celebrity match. And I feel like this is beneath him. Overall, again, decent match. I'm just really surprised how much Jelly Roll wrestled. Like, he was in the match more time than Orton was, and I thought Orton would carry it rather than, like, the other way around. So, overall, fine match. He did fine. Nothing special. It's easier for a big man to be in a celebrity match because it's more important on the people taking the moves than giving it when you're a big guy. So, he was kind of just throwing Logan Paul around, and Logan Paul was doing a good job selling it. So, overall, decent match. At number 8, I have Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill for the Women's Championship. I thought this was a pretty decent match, and I was really shocked by the outcome. I think they kept it short and simple, and that's what it needed to be. Where Tiffany is just insanely athletic, and Jade's insanely powerful, and I think they worked well together. I was really shocked by the outcome because I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Jade's ready yet, but they just gave her such a massive contract to be the top woman in WWE that I thought, okay, they're gonna push her to the moon anyways. And honestly, I think it's a good idea to make her like wait a little bit in the sense where she needs to like define her in-ring work better. She needs to have a better character other than like the perfect storm, essentially I'm just the best. And I think she just needs to work on becoming a better wrestler. It kind of reminds me of like the Ultimate Warrior a little bit, where people were worried about at WrestleMania transitioning from Hulk Hogan to the Ultimate Warrior because people were worried that the Ultimate Warrior wasn't ready yet. And it turns out he wasn't. He failed. Ticket sales went down, and the Ultimate Warrior was not good as the WWE champion. And so, um, kind of reminds me of that, where it's like Jade needs to work on herself, become a little bit better, and I thought they were going to kind of put her in a position to fail, where they're pushing her to the top before she was ready, and I'm kind of happy they didn't do that. The only question is where they go from here. Like, maybe she feuds with Bianca, maybe I don't know, because it's a little bit tough because they've been pushing her as such a big star, where it feels like anything but the world title picture is such a downgrade on her that I don't know what they're going to do with her. But overall, really good match. And Tiffany has just really impressed me. I think she is a great worker, decent character. I think she works much better as a heel, but right now she's such a good worker that people are refusing to boo her, so you really can't turn her heel. But overall, pretty good match. At number 7 is Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship in a no DQ, no countout match, which I always thought was kind of weird because all no DQ matches are no countouts as well. So, overall, I thought this match was pretty decent. I wish it was a little bit more violent, but overall, it was decent. The crowd were not into this at all whatsoever. They could not care less. So there was a really great spot where Lyra Valkyria had her hands tied, and she did a dropkick off some chairs, and then she did a moonsault, which was really, really nice. And then overall, it's kind of like what you expected. Bailey got involved, but it looked a little bit bad because Bailey kind of missed her cue, so Becky Lynch kind of looked like an idiot standing there for a little bit. And then Bailey accidentally punched Lyra Valkyria and cost her the win. So it looks like the two of them are going to be entering in a feud probably, which will be interesting. And then Lyra can't challenge until Becky loses the title. And so now Becky's transitioning into a feud with Nikki Bella, I believe. And so that should be fascinating where that goes. Overall, it was a decent match. It was a decent hardcore match. Again, the crowd kind of ruined it because they did not care at all whatsoever. And then they had a spot where Lyra was trying to get the zip ties off her hands, and it took too long, and it kind of looked bad. And again, overall, I thought they could have done better, and I don't know if my expectations are too high because I think that does play a part in these rankings where, if I expect a match to be really, really great and then it turns out to just be average, it's like lower down as opposed to when I expect a match to be bad and it's average, then it's like, oh, okay, maybe that wasn't too bad. But overall, fairly decent match, and Becky retained. So at number 6, I have Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles for the Men's Intercontinental Championship. I thought this match was really good. AJ Styles still has it, still really good worker, and honestly, the best part of this match, no Judgment Day interference. So there's a lot of homages to Eddie Guerrero in this. Like, for example, AJ Styles basically wore Eddie Guerrero's gear to the ring. Dominic Mysterio and AJ both had like a lot of Eddie poses they were doing. And then the ending where there was one spot where Dominic tried to pretend like AJ hit him with a chair, but then AJ fell with the chair to make it look like Dom hit him, and I thought that didn't make a lot of sense because then what if the ref called the bell on Dom, then AJ wins the match, but Dom still has the title. So that didn't make sense to me, but it was still a funny spot. And then at the end, really, really good work. So Dom unties his boot, and then AJ has him in the calf crusher. And then Dom kind of rips the boot off. Although it did look a little clunky because it seemed like in terms of ripping the boot off, AJ kind of struggled at that, doing that. But overall, I thought this was a good match. It was very entertaining and it was very well done. AJ Styles, I don't know when he's going to retire, but it's going to be soon, and he's going to be on his retirement run. And I'm excited for it because AJ Styles, I think, still is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Yes, he has lost a step, but he is still really, really good, and I still think he can put on main event level matches when they need him to, especially when he was with Seth and when he was with Cody, going for the world titles. That was really, really great, and so I'm excited where AJ can go. And then Dom, it's going to be interesting because read somewhere that they want to make him the face of AAA, which I feel like that's going to be a huge downgrade for him because I feel like nobody really watches AAA, and so him being the face there doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But also, it feels like they don't really want to push him as like a legitimate champion. So I don't really know where he goes from here. I just hope that the Judgment Day stuff is over because I was so happy they didn't interfere on his behalf, and I'm just excited where that goes. At number 5, I have Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. So this match was pretty decent. It was very chaotic and really like a car wreck. So there was a lot of dives everywhere, and Braun Breaker was so good. And so Bronson Reed hit a dive through the middle rope. Roman Reigns hit his like top rope dive, and we haven't seen that in several years. I feel like, and also I feel like we're never going to see it again. So what happened is Roman just like overshot Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and nearly landed on his head. Like that was nearly like Undertaker WrestleMania versus Shawn Michaels level where disaster, where that literally could have killed him. And thank God he ended up being okay for that because that again could have been a complete and utter disaster. So that again, it felt like a train wreck, and I was surprised on how much Jey Uso wrestled in this match. Jey Uso like really carried the team, and Roman was barely in it. Like I said earlier with the Jelly Roll thing, where Roman was the legal man for 3 minutes, and Jelly Roll was the legal man for 8 minutes and 49 seconds. And the beginning of the match doesn't count because at the beginning they started with like a four-man brawl, but you're only allowed two legal men at the time. So the legal men were uh, Braun Breaker and Jey Uso. So again, that was just interesting to me, and again, I was surprised Jey Uso carried the entire match, and we really didn't see Roman wrestle much. But overall, again, it was a fun car crash where not much happened, and I really felt like Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed really needed this because they're being built as the top heels in the company, and to just have these like unbeatable monsters immediately get beaten, I thought was kind of a terrible result, especially since Roman's going away and Jey Uso just isn't a main event guy, and no one really wants to see him in the main event. But overall, I thought it was a fairly decent match, even though it was kind of a car wreck. At number 4, I have Io Sky versus Naomi versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. And I know I say this every video, and I'll say it again. Io Sky is the best wrestler in the world, period. Not men's, not women's, just best wrestler, period. She is so good. Honestly, I want to see her wrestle like every match, and it just sucks that I feel like she doesn't have the best connection with fans because her English isn't that great. But I feel like just give her somebody that helps, that can speak for her. Like give her Paul Heyman or give her literally anybody, and then have her be like Brock Lesnar, just be the intimidating beast that everyone's scared of. And so that's what I wish, is that they could just give her someone to speak for her, and then have her just be the best wrestler in the world. So overall, this is a really good match. I was kind of surprised how much Rhea and Io kind of teamed up against Naomi. I thought it would have been a lot more like three-way moves, but there was quite a few of those, and there was a real nice closing spot where Io was doing her moonsault on, well, Naomi was covering Rhea, and literally at the last second, Naomi rolled out of the way. And I think everyone looked good. Io looked good, Rhea looked good, Naomi looked good, and these are your three top women right now. Like I would add Tiffany to that as well, but in the company, those are your three top women because like Naomi is on the heel run of her life. She's so good. Her character works great. Her in-ring works great. Rhea is just the strongest woman in WWE, maybe. Well, Bianca Belair is probably stronger, but they're kind of one and one A. And then Io Sky, like I said, best wrestler on the planet. This was a really good triple threat. A lot of great triple like moves. Everyone, and it felt like everyone really wanted that title and was really working hard for it. And again, really, really good. Congrats on all. Again, I just wish Io would wrestle more, and I want them to put the world title on Io. And like I said, just, if English is the problem, have someone else speak for her. Kind of plain and simple. At number 3 is Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. And I know a lot of people are probably surprised because um, that this is number 3 because everyone loved this. And again, I thought it was a decent match. It was definitely the best match of John Cena's final run so far. Although it was really surprising the thing on SmackDown. So let me just say it was basically a finishers fest. I think Cody hit like 4 crossroads and Cena hit like 8 AAs, something like that. And it's just not for me. And I totally understand I'm in the minority of this, and a lot of people like stuff like this, but I like when finishers are protected. I feel like basically one finisher should end the match, and maybe on special rare occasions you have like two finishers in a match. But overall, I don't like it. I just don't think it's good that Cody kicks out of like 8 AAs and John Cena kicks out at 4 crossroads, because it doesn't make the finishers look good and doesn't make them look believable. But that's just my opinion on it. But this match was pretty good. You can tell that they really want to make up for their horrible WrestleMania match. And John Cena put his working boots on, and this is how I felt the entire run. Where again, maybe it was just because he was a heel or what, or something else. I don't know, but I always felt like John Cena hasn't really been giving his best effort. Again, maybe it's because he was a heel, but I just feel like he hasn't been giving a good effort in his matches. And this one he did. You can tell he cared about this one. You could tell he wanted to make up for his poor performance at Mania, and both of them really had their working boots on, and it was a good match. It was a really, really good match. Um, and the weird thing is like where we go from here, because the Cena heel turn is so weird. So I know I've been getting so much hate online for calling the Cena heel turn terrible, and you know why I say it's terrible? Well, I said it before, but the company even acknowledges it's terrible, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't have just come out and been like, John Cena, go out there on SmackDown and say, yeah, this heel turn's been terrible, so I'm just now a babyface with no explanation. So, like I said, it's just been his final run has been horrible so far. I feel like they wasted the first like what 6 months of his run, and now we're actually starting to get somewhere. But it is interesting with Cena because so he lost the title. So he had two goals. He wanted to break Ric Flair's record, which he did at Mania, and then he wanted to retire as champion, which he's failed to do so. So what's his goal? Why is he still wrestling from now to December? It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And then Cody, they can go in almost any direction. I really don't know where they're going to go with him. And then at the end, of the match, Brock Lesnar returned. And this is something that I'm genuinely curious about because I keep going back and forth where I see some people are really excited about his return and some people who aren't excited for his return. And like, I just want to point out that on this pay-per-view, there might be more, but these are just the ones I thought of off the top of my head. Jelly Roll. He went to prison for robbery, drug dealing, and shoplifting. Jacob Fatu. He went to prison for armed robbery. Cardi B said she would drug and rob men. And Jey Uso is arrested for a DWI. So it's like, what's the line here where we can't support criminal activity, but WWE is promoting those guys? And granted, Brock Lesnar was just mentioned in a lawsuit. He wasn't actually accused of anything. But so like that's kind of my point where if Brock Lesnar, we say, okay, this stuff is unacceptable and WWE cannot promote people who do bad things in their personal life, then I feel like there needs to be a lot of wrestlers that get banned. Like, Jacob Fatu needs to get banned. Jey Uso needs to get banned. Jimmy Uso needs to get banned. Uh, you know, uh, Cardi B and Jelly Roll shouldn't be able to show up. I always looked at it as like personal life and in ring work were separate, and I think Brock Lesnar is one of the best wrestlers, and I love his in ring work. So I think should be able to come back on the basis of his in ring work if that's what we care about. But if we care about his personal life, then again, where do we draw the line? Because so many other wrestlers I feel like should get banned in that case. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about Brock if you think like he should be able to come back or if he shouldn't, because I kind of see both sides of the argument, but I would say, again, if the issue is bad personal life, so many other wrestlers need to be banned as well. So, I don't know. I just feel like I don't like having different standards for different people. I think the same standard should apply to everyone. And so, like, either ban Brock and ban all these guys as well, or give everyone forgiveness and let everyone back in. That's just my thoughts on it. So overall, really good match, and this is giving me promise. Where I get it, Cena only has like 3 matches left, maybe 4, but this is giving me a little bit of promise, saying, hey, maybe those 3 matches are going to be good. Because overall, I think his run's been absolutely terrible, and hopefully it'll change around. At number 2, I have the six-pack tables, ladders, and chairs match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. You have the Wyatt Six, represented by Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy. You have Andrade and Rey Fenix. You have DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Fraxium, Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, and the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. So this match was really, really good. And here's the thing, I think stipulation matches have been a little bit on the downturn because you can't be as violent as you once were allowed to. And so that's why, like for example, Hell in the Cell. The Punk Drew match, I think everyone loved it so much because that was a violent match that was reminiscent of like the early 2000s that's been banned for a lot of time. And so I think these guys were kind of working from the ground up, and they were really, really good. Fraxium put in a huge effort. There was a lot of nice table spots. The MVP of this match to me, though, was Candice LeRae. She had an insane ladder bump off a ladder, through a ladder on the outside, and then just, again, they were just insane bumps. It's hard to even list off a bunch of them. One thing that does downgrade it a little bit for me is I did not like the Wyatt Six interference, just because, again, I'm a little bit over it in the sense where I'm okay with interference every once in a while, but it feels like we're getting to the point where there's interference in almost every match, and it's a little bit overkill. But overall, SmackDown has the best tag team division in the world, and just let them go out and have amazing tag team matches. Like Mercy Machine Guns, amazing. Angelo Dawkins, amazing. Also, Angelo Dawkins took a Spanish fly to the outside through a table, and he is willing to take almost any bump, it feels like, because he speared, I believe, Tommaso Ciampa through a table in the last TLC match, and really screwed up his knee, it looked like. And then, you had, Tommaso Ciampa have a really nice spot where looks like they're going for the spear again, but he's able to pull himself up on the titles to miss the spear. Amazing, amazing core strength there. And again, best tag teams in the world. Motor City Machine Gun's great. Street Profits are great. DIY's great. Fraxium's great. Wyatt Six. I feel like we need more matches out of them, but they can be great. And so just let them on pay-per-views. This is the only second pay-per-view uh, since the Royal Rumble, and that was back in February. So it's literally been like 6 months since they've wrestled on pay-per-view, and so just let them do it. These are amazing wrestlers. All these guys are great. All of them put in hard work, and all of them deserve it. And so amazing, amazing match. Really, really good. And I can definitely see this one as being rewatchable and really good. At number one, I have CM Punk versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is match of the night, match of the year candidate. This was really, really good. This really, to me, felt like an old school wrestling match where it's two dudes just beating the crap out of each other. And he had Gunther chopping Punk all over, and it felt like really injuring him. And then he had Punk trying to have spots where he's like willing his way back. Yeah, Gunther amazing selling, freaking out after he gets cut open, and just all around fantastic, fantastic match. I love these drag out brawls where, it's just two dudes. It feels like they're having a real wrestling match where it's not like a scripted spot fest. It's like these guys really want to beat each other up so they can win the world title and be the best in the world. This is just so good. And it feels like Gunther's back. Like, this is kind of my problem with him is I feel like they've been giving him non-main eventers to work with while he's been in the world title picture, and he's just not been having great matches. Like, Goldberg was decent, but with Jey Uso, you can only do so much. With Damian Priest, you can only do so much. And overall, it's just been a failure of a title reign. But this was just an amazing match because guess what? They gave him a main event star to work with. And so really, really good. And I know Gunther's going to take a few months off, but again, this is just absolutely fantastic. Gunther deserves this. Punk deserves this. And Punk's been on a good run. His match with Drew was really good. The Hell in Cell one. This one was really good. And so overall, fantastic, fantastic match. I cannot say as much about this as possible. I'll probably rewatch this a couple of times because it was that dang good. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What matches did you like? What matches did you not like? And if you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Also, if you want to know my more immediate thoughts on things, make sure to follow me on Twitter /ExitCrawcast, and I'll see you on the next one.